Manchester United are once again engulfed in crisis, with Ruben Amorim's future at Old Trafford hanging by the thinnest of threads following yet another underwhelming performance. The Portuguese coach, who arrived with high expectations and a reputation as a modern tactician, is now under intense scrutiny after a disappointing 1-1 draw away at Fulham, a result that has only deepened the sense of frustration and uncertainty surrounding the club. United's failure to secure all 3 points leaves them stranded with just 29 points from 28 league matches, a tally that starkly illustrates how far they have fallen behind their rivals this season. For a club of Manchester United's stature, where the demand for excellence is ingrained in its DNA, such mediocrity is intolerable. Reports suggest that Amorim has been given a strict 3-week deadline to turn the team's fortunes around or face dismissal before the end of the campaign. Behind closed doors, tensions have reportedly boiled over. According to insiders, a recent meeting between Amorim and United's owners, the Glazer family, turned heated and confrontational. The owners expressed growing anger over what they perceive as stagnation on the pitch, a lack of identity in the team's play, and results that have left the season on the brink of collapse. The message delivered to Amorim was unambiguous: the situation must change immediately. Those present described the atmosphere as hostile, with Amorim looking visibly shaken as the Glazers made it clear that their patience had nearly run out. The owners no longer appear convinced that the project under Amorim is sustainable, and the possibility of a managerial change feels increasingly likely unless results improve swiftly. The draw at Fulham only reinforced these doubts. United created chances but wasted them, with Bruno Fernandes' missed penalty proving costly. Instead of taking control of the match and seeing it through, the team faltered, reverting to a cautious and defensive style after initially taking the lead. This reluctance to maintain pressure and dominate opponents has become a recurring criticism of Amorim's approach, with many analysts pointing out that it leaves United vulnerable and passive. Former captain Roy Keane did not hold back in his post-match analysis, blasting both players and manager alike. He labeled the performance disgraceful, insisting that Manchester United cannot allow mediocrity to define them. Other pundits echoed these sentiments. Gary Neville pointed to the lack of tactical cohesion, while Alan Shearer questioned Amorim's experience and ability to handle the pressure of managing a club of this magnitude. Amorim, for his part, tried to maintain a calm and composed tone in his post-match comments, acknowledging the disappointment but urging patience. He spoke of the need to manage crucial moments more effectively and insisted that the team must not allow external pressure to influence decisions on the pitch. However, these explanations did little to silence critics, many of whom feel that his philosophy lacks clarity and consistency. Fans watching the match grew increasingly frustrated with the timid and disjointed style of play, which seemed miles away from the fearless and attacking brand of football traditionally associated with Manchester United. Inside the dressing room, the situation appears complex. While some players have publicly backed Amorim, insisting they remain committed to his vision and only need to convert hard work into victories, whispers from within the camp suggest otherwise. Certain members of the squad reportedly find his tactical instructions overly complicated and confusing, with one player privately admitting that it is not always clear what the team is trying to achieve on the pitch. This confusion has manifested itself in performances that lack cohesion between defense, midfield, and attack. For a club aiming to compete at the highest level, such disorganization is seen as unacceptable and fuels speculation that the players' faith in their manager is eroding. The timing of this crisis makes matters even worse. United are about to embark on a defining run of fixtures. Their upcoming match against Grimsby, once viewed as a routine outing, now carries huge significance as Amorim fights for his job. Anything short of a convincing win could accelerate his dismissal. Beyond that, daunting clashes against Arsenal and Liverpool loom large, games that could very well determine the manager's fate. A source inside the club confirmed that the players are acutely aware of the stakes, acknowledging that their manager is battling to save his position. For them, the Grimsby game is not just about securing 3 points, but about proving to supporters and owners alike that they still have the hunger to fight for their season. The Glazers, wary of another wasted campaign, are already believed to be considering potential successors. Names such as Mauricio Pochettino, admired for his work in the Premier League and his ability to develop young talent, and Zinedine Zidane, a serial Champions League winner with Real Madrid, have entered the conversation. Other possibilities include Thomas Tuchel, who remains highly regarded despite recent mixed fortunes, and even the notion of a sentimental return for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, though the latter appears far less likely. What remains clear is that the club hierarchy is determined to avoid another rushed and poorly planned appointment, a mistake they have made too often in the post-Ferguson era. Among supporters, the fan base is deeply divided. Some believe Amorim should be given more time, arguing that constant managerial changes have only deepened United's instability over the past decade. They point out that he needs at least 2 transfer windows to truly put his stamp on the squad. Others, however, have run out of patience. On social media, many fans are demanding immediate change, questioning whether Amorim ever had the gravitas to manage a club of United's size and stature. For them, this latest draw is yet another example of wasted potential, muddled tactics, and underperformance that cannot be tolerated. As the clock ticks down, the situation grows ever more precarious. Amorim's once promising tenure at Manchester United now feels on the brink of collapse. The draw against Fulham has become a symbol of the wider malaise afflicting the club, a side unsure of its identity, unable to capitalize on opportunities, and plagued by inconsistency. With just 3 weeks to inspire a turnaround, every match will carry enormous weight, not just for the team's season but for Amorim's future as a top-level manager. The footballing world watches closely, as Old Trafford prepares itself for yet another decisive chapter in its turbulent post-Ferguson journey, a period defined more by upheaval and uncertainty than by the glory United once commanded. The stalemate against Fulham was not simply about dropped points, it was about what the result signified. Manchester United had the opportunity to show resilience, to reassert themselves after a turbulent run of form, but instead, they looked fragile, hesitant, and bereft of confidence. Bruno Fernandes' missed penalty summed up the lack of composure in key moments, while the team's defensive retreat after initially taking the lead highlighted tactical flaws that critics argue have become ingrained under Amorim. Instead of dictating the match, United surrendered control, allowing Fulham back into the game. The final whistle was greeted not with relief, but with boos from sections of the away support, a sound that carried the frustration of a fan base that feels betrayed by years of broken promises and underwhelming performances. Behind the scenes, the pressure has reached boiling point. Sources close to Old Trafford describe a private meeting between Amorim and the Glazers that escalated into a confrontation. The owners, who are already unpopular with large sections of the fan base, reportedly demanded immediate improvements, expressing fury at what they consider a lack of progress, a failure to create an identity on the pitch, and a brand of football that is not only uninspiring but damaging to the club's global reputation. One insider revealed that Amorim was told in no uncertain terms that unless results improve drastically over the next 3 weeks, his position will become untenable. The ultimatum was delivered with a bluntness that left little room for interpretation. Either United mount a revival, or Amorim will be gone before the season ends. The pressure of such a mandate is enormous, and Amorim's demeanor after the meeting was described as shaken, even stunned. This is a manager who arrived at Manchester United with a reputation for innovation, modern tactics, and bold ideas. Many saw him as the young, progressive coach who could finally steer United out of their post-Ferguson wilderness. Yet the weight of expectation at Old Trafford is unlike anywhere else. A club that prides itself on attacking football, silverware, and elite status cannot tolerate mediocrity, and Amorim's struggles are being measured against the heavy shadow of history. Pundits across England have not held back.